All right, am I okay to start?
One more minute. Let's make sure that there's about a 30-second delay. So let's make sure people are jumping in. We are good to go.
All right, well, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for participating in this session today with me. So my name is Drew Wilkerson, and I'm an Assistant Vice President for Academic Affairs at Jefferson Community and Technical College. I oversee our academic initiatives, which includes our dual enrollment program and our Accelerate to College program that I'm here to talk about today. So before we kind of get into the program, I just want to talk a little bit about Jefferson and just kind of the landscape of what dual enrollment is like here. So Jefferson Community and Technical College is a public 2-year community and technical college in Louisville, Kentucky. We are part of the Kentucky Community and Technical College system, which has 16 colleges around the state of Kentucky. At Jefferson, we have 6 campuses, 3 in urban settings and 3 in rural settings. And then we have 30 additional sites that include high school sites and workforce development sites as well. For the past 5 or 6 years, our enrollment's have been fairly steady, except the last year with a COVID decline, but we're averaging about 12,000 students enrolled each year at our college. 65% of those are credential-seeking students, with pretty much a 50-50 split between associate in science and associate in art majors and technical program majors. Of our enrollment, about 32% is dual credit or dual enrollment high school students, and then about 3% are other non-credential seeking students in our workforce solutions department, or students that are visiting or auditing. 26% of students at Jefferson are enrolled full-time, 27% are 25 and older, and 35% of our students identify as an underrepresented minority. Jefferson enrolls the highest number of URM students out of any post-secondary institution in the state of Kentucky. That includes our flagship institutions, University of Kentucky and the University of Louisville, and also includes our HBCUs that we have in the state, Kentucky State University and Simmons College. So we enrolled the most URM students out of any of those institutions. A little bit about the dual credit landscape here in the state of Kentucky, for those of you that aren't familiar with it. High school students have 2 scholarship opportunities available to them to take dual enrollment work. The first one is called the Kentucky Dual Credit Scholarship. This is a scholarship available to juniors or seniors, and it allows them to take 2 dual credit classes, either general education or career and technical education classes, at no cost sometime in the junior or senior year. And that's a total of 2. So if they use both in the junior year, then they've exhausted that scholarship in the senior year. We also have what's called the Work Ready Dual Credit Scholarship. This scholarship is focused completely on career and technical education, and it allows students to take 2 CTE courses per year of high school for a total of 8. And that's available to all public education students. In addition to that, any post-secondary institution that participates in either of those 2 scholarships also has to, by law, agree to a low-cost tuition model. Currently, that is 40% of the regular tuition that is set by the Kentucky Community and Technical College system. Current credit hour rate is $179 for a regular student. And so a dual credit student is paying 40% of that, so about $72 per credit hour for any of their dual credit classes. And that would be whether they're taking and using the dual credit scholarship, or if they're paying out of pocket, or their high school or district is paying for them to take additional classes. It's at about that $72 per credit hour rate. Around Kentucky, since 2018, dual credit is on the rise. It's kind of slowed down the last couple of years since 2018, about 4.7% increase. Statewide, there's 33,235 dual credit students enrolled across the state, with nearly 40 participating institutions of higher education. So Jefferson's part in that story. Enrollment in dual credit at Jefferson is accelerating rapidly. Since 2018-19, dual credit enrollment has grown 60%, including big enrollment gains last year during COVID and again this year during COVID. A majority of that growth has been in career and technical education courses, particularly our business program and our computer information technology program. We've seen a tremendous growth in those areas. Jefferson is the largest provider of dual credit in the state of Kentucky. We have nearly 4,500 dual credit students enrolled last year, and projections are showing that we're going to increase that number again this year. So out of all enrollment across the state, Jefferson is enrolling about 13% of all the dual credit students in the state of Kentucky. Locally, not only are we seeing a great increase in enrollment, but our data is also showing a strong correlation between earning dual credit and post-secondary success. So for example, a study conducted by our institutional research office showed that students that had completed 6 hours of dual credit have higher first-time semester GPA when they matriculate to Jefferson as regular credential-seeking students. And that number is controlled for the dual credits classes themselves. So it's not that they're getting good grades in dual credit classes and that's bumping their GPA during freshman year. That metric was controlled for. So it's just the classes they're taking that first semester. Students with dual credit experience have that higher first semester GPA. And on top of that, those that have completed dual credit before coming to us as credential seeking students, they're twice as likely to graduate with a credential, a certificate, diploma, or degree within 3 years. So lots of great things happening at Jefferson on the dual credit front. So kind of marrying that with some other trends in education. Here at Jefferson, historically, about 63% of our first-time students come to Jefferson needing developmental education in math, reading, or English courses. On top of that, there historically has been a very low completion rate. So just over 25% of those students complete all of their assigned developmental education and go on to take college-level classes. And of the non-completers, about 25% never even attempted their developmental education classes. When we look at the full spectrum of developmental education and then going into a college level credit bearing course, less than 13% of those in math actually finish a college level math class, and just over 17% do that in English. And of course, there's lots of initiatives that have been implemented to try to fix that. We're adopters of the co-requisite model, but the Accelerate to College program is another attempt here at Jefferson to try to fix this issue. So the Accelerate to College program at Jefferson is really motivated by 2 guiding principles. One, students who earn dual credit in high school are more likely to persist to college and earn a degree. So our local data shows this. And there's national data, of course, that shows this as well. In that national data and the professional literature, there's some evidence that even shows that while career and technical education dual credit is great, if we can enroll students in core general education courses like math and English, the impact is even greater. So our second guiding principle then is with the high rate at which students are entering our college needing developmental education, that suggests that there's too few that have the opportunity to enroll in dual credit general education courses. And so part of our answer to this was the development of the Accelerate to College program. So the framework of the Accelerate to College program is our aim is to provide greater access to general education dual credit courses for at-risk students. In particular, our focus is on math and English because some of the professional literature indicates that those are two crucial areas where if students can complete dual credit, they have a higher likely of attending and completing higher education. It's also because those are the areas where we see historically really low rates of completion of developmental education once students come to Jefferson as matriculated students. The A to C program delivers Jefferson developmental mathematics and English courses to students while still in high school when it can be most impactful. These courses are taught by high school teachers in the high school classroom, guided by Jefferson faculty leaders. We consider these classes dual enrollment and not dual credit. In the state of Kentucky, there's a difference between these two, especially when you look at accountability numbers for high school students and how high schools are graded, and also some scholarship opportunities for course completion that students have available to them in high school. So we do distinguish between those two. It's a dual enrollment opportunity that leads into a dual credit opportunity. And so this program provides a performance-based pathway to being able to enroll in dual credit and being considered college ready should a student matriculate to Jefferson. The development of this program, we partnered with our largest local school district, Jefferson County Public Schools. Jefferson County Public Schools is the public school district in Louisville, Kentucky. It serves 101,000 students from pre-K through 12th grade. And I believe there's right around 25 high schools in this district. So a team of 10 English instructors and 10 math instructors, 5 from the high school, 5 from the college, as well as some instructional leads at the high school level, got together to develop this program and spent 8 months developing it. And so part of the development was looking at curriculum. It was really enlightening, I think, for both parties to kind of look at what each of us are doing, but there really hadn't been an intentional conversation and sit down to do that. And so we looked at what exactly is happening in the high school curriculum, and the high school got a chance to look at exactly what the learning outcomes are in the college class. And I think there was a lot of eye-opening moments as we developed that to develop this program. So getting into some specifics and particulars about our program, the A to C English course is delivered to high school juniors, and this is a year-long course. So students enroll in the fall semester into the program and stay with their high school teacher throughout the year. The A to C English course aligns Jefferson's ENC 96, which is titled Foundations of College Writing, with the junior year English and Language Arts course. So when we put the two curriculums together for this course, we found that the college course was heavily involved with writing. It was very writing intensive because the goal of that course was to prepare students for English 101. What we found in the junior year ELA course was that while there was writing in that course, there was a much heavier emphasis in reading. And so when we put these two curriculums together, we kind of married the college curriculum with the writing intensive part with the high school part. And we developed this new course that satisfies everything the college would need and everything that the high school would need according to the Kentucky Department of Education. Part of this course is that students write 4 essays. They write the same exact 4 essays that students taking this course on the college campus would write. The idea is that we are developing college writers, and that the product that is seen in September and October is going to look vastly different from the product that we see in May for their final essay. We expect to see progression and growth and not see college level writing in September and October. Once we get to May, we're expecting to see a product that mirrors college level work and indicates that students are ready to take that next step into an English 101 course. The final essay in this course is a research paper. And so that also allows teachers to introduce students on how to use databases. And they have access to all of the college's resources, all of the databases that we subscribe to and are a part of with our statewide library system. And so students really get to get that full experience of what it means to be a college writer and what it means to use some of these academic resources that they may not have really gotten into as a high school student. Students who write all 4 of those essays at a mastery level, and that level is determined by our English department, and pass the course with a C or better, then become eligible for dual credit English 101 and English 102 the following year in their senior year. The course grade for this course goes onto the college transcript, and it goes onto the high school transcript as well. So they are receiving credit towards their graduation for high school, and then they're receiving the developmental credit at the college, which of course doesn't count towards graduation, but it does indicate on the college transcript that they're college ready through this performance-based way. Okay. Another hallmark of this program is that it is at no cost to the student. Student doesn't pay anything to participate. They just need to be willing and able to do the work that's going to be required of them. And that's a commitment we've been able to make as a college, as a high school district, and for the past few years with some funding from a generous grant. The current eligibility, and why I say current is our statewide system is drafting some new placement policies that will go into effect next year. That's probably going to affect what type of students we're looking at for this program, or at least what metrics we're looking at for this program. But kind of the hallmark of the program is we're looking at students who are at risk, who are approaching college readiness benchmarks, but are predicted to be short of college readiness benchmarks. So in Kentucky, to be considered college ready in English, that is an ACT score of 18, as well as a whole bunch of other different placement options that are available. But that's kind of the core one when we think of ACT. So the ACT guideline that we give to high schools as they're selecting and advertising this to students is we're looking at students who are predicted based on everything that is in their file that will probably be in a 12 to 18 range on their ACT. And that mirrors our ENC 96 placement requirement on campus when students come to Jefferson. Okay, and then we also locally in the Jefferson County Public School District use a test called MAP that's administered 3 times a year. And so we give them a MAP range as well that corresponds to that ACT range. Okay. We recognize with this program, like any others, it's not a magic bullet. It's not going to fix issues for every student. And so we're really looking for students that have a history of trying to work hard, that attend school, and are willing to put in the work that's needed to be successful in the program and be able to demonstrate through performance that they really are college ready. So we require a 2.0 cumulative GPA, or recognizing that students sometimes don't get off to a great start. We also will just look at their sophomore GPA and accept a 2.5 GPA. And we require that students have a 90% attendance rate in their high schools. And because of COVID and non-traditional instruction, that last one, we've kind of looked the other way on this past year. We didn't feel that attendance rate was probably a good measure to look at. So the A to C math course is a senior year course in the fall semester. So just like the English course, students are enrolling into Jefferson into a college level course. Specifically, it's Math 61, Foundations of College Algebra. And so students are actually enrolling at the college. They complete our college application, they complete an agreement form that we use for our dual credit students that parents sign off on, but they are literally college students when they participate in this program. Just like the English course, we did a lot of curriculum matching and trying to see what exactly is happening in the high school and how does that line up with the learning outcomes that are in the college class. And just like English, we saw lots of gaps, and it was really an eye-opening experience, I think, for both parties. So the A to C math course uses the same assignments and same assessments that would be given on campus in our Math 61 class. It utilizes the Alex Adaptive Learning Platform, which is a McGraw-Hill product. Same product we use in our on-campus classes. And this course really is a focus on some basic and intermediate algebra type topics that would prepare students either for a college algebra experience or a liberal arts mathematics course experience. And so it's what we found was that the high school curriculum was much more broad, and the college Math 61 course was much more heavily focused on some specific topics that we feel really prepares someone to be successful in a college algebra or liberal arts mathematics course. And so that's kind of one of the differences that we saw between the two levels. Students who complete this A to C Math 61 course with a C or better become eligible for dual credit Math 146, Contemporary College Math, which is our liberal arts math course here at Jefferson, or Math 150, College Algebra in the spring semester. And just like English, the grade for this course goes on their college transcript. Either a positive grade that they've earned, or potentially have the option to withdraw if things aren't going well for them. Okay, just like English, the eligibility focuses the same areas that English does, and we mirrored the on-campus placement requirement. So we look at placement on ACT of predicted 14 through 21. In the state of Kentucky, there's two ways to demonstrate college readiness, depending on the quantitative reasoning level. For liberal arts mathematics courses, an ACT of 19 demonstrates college readiness, and a 22 for STEM fields demonstrates college readiness. So just like English, we're looking at students who are at risk and predicted to be below the college readiness benchmarks set by the state. We also look at a 2.0 cumulative GPA or 2.5 GPA in the previous year, which would be the junior year in this case, and a 90% attendance rate. As I said on a previous slide, high school teachers are the ones that are teaching the A to C courses in the high school classroom, guided by the college's leadership in the math and English department. So our teachers that are teaching in this program, a little bit different requirements than we would normally have for our dual credit faculty because it's a zero level course. So preferably we're looking at a teacher with bachelor's degrees in English or math, or at a minimum a bachelor's degree in a related field with a state certification to teach math and English. And then we're really looking for teachers that have histories of collaboration and innovation. We really need them to buy into the philosophical kind of design of the program and not really get caught up in thinking of the way they've always done things or necessarily the things that they think, how they think things should be done. So there's certainly lots of flexibility for teachers in the program to customize things, but we really want them to buy into the program and collaborate with other teachers in this program. And just like any of our faculty at the college, teachers in this program submit to us official transcripts, and we maintain a teacher file for them to meet our requirements for our accrediting body, which is the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. Okay, so support for the teachers. We have a lot of hands-on approach for this program to make sure that it's successful. So first, any new teacher into the program participates in a 2-day paid training in June, right after school gets out, to prepare them for the upcoming school year. And that is a mandatory training. So if a teacher doesn't participate, then that school potentially runs the risk of not being able to run the program the following year if we're not able to do a makeup event. We also have a kickoff event in August to make sure that all of our teachers, our returning teachers and our new teachers, are ready to go for the start of the year, give reminders about enrollment processes and things like that. We also support teachers through mandatory professional learning communities. All of the English teachers and math teachers get together once a month to talk about how things are going, to review assignments that are coming up. For English, they do group reads of papers to try to calibrate how we're grading papers. And it's been just a really good experience for all of the teachers involved to be able to sit down every month with teachers not in their school building to see common challenges and common successes. And then we also provide classroom observations once or twice per year as part of the program as well. So a staff member with teaching experience from the dual credit office goes into the high school classroom, observes and provides that feedback to both the teacher and the academic department at the college to provide support when needed, or just to congratulate and encourage to keep the momentum going. So some of our results that we've had so far, this program was launched in 2019 and on the eve of COVID, right? So anything I'm sharing here, I just kind of give the disclaimer of I don't really know what the future looks like because we've operated entirely in COVID times for this program. And in Jefferson County in Louisville, students left the classroom in March 2020, and they didn't return to the classroom until April 2021. And so we had to drastically pivot, and a lot of focus and time went from supporting students on how to become writers and mathematicians to helping students survive. And that was a huge shift for us. So, but here are some of the results. We had 432 students in the first year. 267 of those were URM students. So this is a minority majority program. 68% finished with an A, B, or C, and 64% of URMs finished with an A, B, or C for the English course. 2020, we had a decline in enrollment. A lot of that was COVID related and students not being in the school building. And so enrollment process was difficult. At the same time, instruction was difficult. We had a lot of students that life just overtook, and you can see there was a drop in results that we already weren't really thrilled with and thought probably could be a lot better if we weren't doing non-traditional instruction. Math, we see similar enrollment, about 300 students enrolled in both years, both cohorts. Again, it's a minority majority program. And in math, we're seeing a little bit better success than we have in English, about 70% pass rate, and then a slight increase the next year. And so with that, the first year that we had no gap in achievement between URM and non-URM students. The following year, this past year, a slight gap, and that's just something we're just going to keep watching. So some lessons learned that we've had so far is, this first one, we had no idea that this would be a lesson we need to learn, but don't launch a new program during a pandemic. We launched August 2019, and of course, no one had any idea what was on the horizon, but that provided a lot of challenges. And like I said, some of the shift went from supporting students and helping them learn how to be writers and how to learn to be mathematicians, to helping them, like I said, survive and deal with possible homelessness that came from pandemic and work issues, or having COVID in their home or having COVID themselves. It was just, I think we all know it, a very challenging time, at other times, scary times as well. And so that certainly, I think, influenced what we did, and kind of some of the things that we saw in this program. We also kind of learned that from the college and high school perspectives, there was a really eagerness to work together. When we kind of put this program together at the senior leadership level, with administrators at both the college and the high school, I think we had a lot of optimism that, you know, it's something that could work. And both parties at that level, I think, had buy-in that yes, we want to make this work, but we really didn't know what was going to be kind of the take from the teachers in the classroom at the high school and the college. You know, what were their thoughts going to be? Were they going to feel challenged, or were they going to kind of embrace this as an opportunity to provide for students that hadn't existed before? So, you know, much to the success of the program, what we found that there really was an eagerness for those two groups of faculty to work together. And I think they really relished the opportunity to see what's happening, and find that at a lot of times there's not too much difference, but at other times that there really were gaps in what the high school thought the college experience was, or vice versa, what the college thought the high school was doing, and how they approach learning based on those assumptions. So, so kind of tying it into the third bullet there, you know, at times we really did see a big disconnect between the high school and the college curriculums, right? And so no fault to either party, but how the high school thought they were preparing students didn't quite match with what the college faculty thought students were coming in with. And so, you know, kind of developing a program like this where we're putting these faculty in the same room together for a long time, we could really highlight some of those things and talk through and improve education for students by doing that. Okay. The other thing that I think as an administrator, I was really glad to see, and I know my fellow administrators were as well, is that egos were really put aside. I think that was kind of a worry that there might be you know, jockeying for power, or, you know, kind of a struggle, but we didn't see that. You know, we saw that educators on both sides here, higher education and secondary education, just really wanted to come together for the betterment of students as a whole. And I think that was really refreshing, and it was really great to see. So our next steps as a program. So first, we are working throughout this upcoming year to institutionalize the cost of this program. So I mentioned in previous slides that we've had some support from a grant to be able to make this program possible. And so our funder for this has been the JP Morgan Chase Foundation, who in 2018 came to the table with our grant proposal that we submitted to them, and funded this for us. And so this work kind of started coming together in 2018, and then really ramped up by bringing the faculty into it in the winter of 2019, winter/spring of 2019. So, so we've had a lot of great funding that has been able to support the program so far. As I said, to this point, it has been at no cost to the student, and we're committed to continuing that funding model for the student component. We don't want this to be something that excludes students because they don't have the ability to pay for it. I mentioned the scholarship opportunities that are available in Kentucky for dual credit classes. Those scholarship opportunities do not extend to developmental level classes. It's legislated that way in these scholarships that developmental education courses don't qualify as dual credit classes, and so don't qualify for dual credit scholarships. And so how we've handled that, we've used the grant funds that we were able to get to first bring in some staff to support the new program. So in the dual credit office, I mentioned that we have a staff member who does faculty observations. She also works with high schools on enrollment process and participates in the PLCs with the instructors and faculty leaders. So that was one component. Being able to have funds to support that person really kind of allowed us as a college to just write off the tuition. And so that's something we're committed to going forward now that the program's kind of up and running, but the grant certainly helped us be able to do that in the first few years here and to be able to write off that tuition. It's also provided funding for materials. And so English, the high school used that opportunity to be able to revamp some of what they were doing with their literature, be able to buy new books and kind of expand what they were doing. And with math, I mentioned that we're using the ALEX program. And so this grant has provided funding to be able to purchase licenses for students to remove that barrier as well. So kind of looking at next year, we're institutionalizing the cost at this point. And so as a college, we're committed to continuing to write off tuition and not charge students tuition for the program. But we're kind of looking, both institutions, the high school district and the college, figuring out where to pull money from to continue supporting the professional learning communities and trainings that happen. So stipends and things for educators to participate in those outside of their normal job duties. And we're trying to figure out how we can pay for the continued use of ALEX because our math teachers and our students in those classes are expressing to us the benefit that they're seeing from using those. And so that's kind of a big step for us as we continue the program to next year. The other thing that we took on this year is we expanded this program to the other school districts that are served in the Jefferson Community and Technical College region. Jefferson County Public Schools is our largest school district. As I said, it serves over 100,000 students, but we have 10 other school districts that we serve in our region as well. And so this year we've expanded that program and made it available to other school districts in our service region using the foundation that we've already built with Jefferson County Public Schools. And then another big step forward that we're trying to take is, with the onset of COVID and all the complications that we experienced as educators from that, from the virus itself, but also the complications and the difficulty it took to do NTI, non-traditional instruction, with students completely online. We really made a focused effort on the developmental piece. And so we really want to ramp up efforts in this next year on the dual credit piece and making sure that we are getting as many students as we possibly can enrolled into that dual credit piece, English 101 or the college level math course. And then also making sure that we're providing support to them to help them be successful in that dual credit piece. Because kind of looking at the program from start to finish, we recognize that without the dual credit piece, the program isn't as effective as it can be. And so we're putting a lot of effort into that this year to make sure that piece is running as smoothly as it possibly can be. And of course, we're hoping now that the world is not quite back to normal, but at least education is in person again, at least here in Louisville. We're hoping that we're going to see some improvement, especially with English, on seeing more students being able to complete the English course successfully And in particular, a lot of that's driven by the essays being written to mastery level. So kind of thinking of how the program's set up, the last essay is the research essay. And so our first year in this program, students left the school building right as the research essay was starting. And so I think that had a big impact on the results we saw that first year, and students not being able to complete that final essay, and so not being successful in the course. But as I said, we're hoping as education has at least returned to an in-person format here in Louisville, that we'll see some improvement in that English number in particular, and that we'll continue to see the same level of success that we've had in math, and hopefully a slight improvement on that. So.
All right, and with that, we're right at 5 minutes, and we have some questions, so it's perfect. Let me go ahead and read those out, those questions that have come in our chat during the presentation. Have you been able to access student success relative to their past academic records? If so, might that impact your future eligibility policies?
We haven't dived too much into that at the high school level. So since I work on the college side, the data that's most readily available to me without jumping through lots of hoops is college data. But on the high school side, we haven't really gotten into that too much. The data I'm really particularly interested in is seeing how the post-secondary data is improved through the program. So we had a little over 100 students from our first cohort matriculated to Jefferson this year. So this was the first year that we're seeing students that started the program actually are at the matriculation age. So I think we'll be really curious to see, did the program have a correlation with how students are now doing in college that they've matriculated to us? So yeah, thanks for your question.
And we've had one more that has come in. When you say course grade on college transcripts, do you mean ENC 96 or the ENG 101 and 102 when they complete that?
Yeah, great question. So it's really like a two-step program, right? So the first step is the ENC 96 and the MAT 61. When students start the program, the grade for that class goes on their transcript. So in A, B, or C, or if they're not successful, we give them the option to withdraw and kind of save from having a failing grade. So that goes on the college transcript. In addition to that, if they're successful in the first component, they'll move over into ENG 101 and MAT 146 or 150. That also is going on the college transcript. And since that's 100 level, that is now credit-bearing courses that they're getting that count towards college graduation. So potentially they have both of those, and most of the students do because they're successful in the first part and then they move over into the dual credit piece.
And we've had one more question that's come in. What was the total received for the grant? How much did you spend on per academic year? And what is the breakdown cost per student? If you're not willing to share those details of the grant proposal, that's fine. We can work one-on-one as you have your contact information here as well.
Yeah, my grant funder is not here to tell me not to, so I'm happy to share. In total, we've been funded for, over the past 3 years, $750,000 for the program. Expenditure has been a little bit less than that, especially in the COVID year, where we have some residual funds that we've been approved to carry over. Just from things that we weren't able to do in person, especially with teacher meetings and things and travel and things like that, but those funds couldn't be used. And so we were able to carry those funds over. Our funder was very understanding that COVID was happening. And so it wasn't possible. So the question about how much is this per student cost, we're writing off $537 of tuition per student. And then on top of that, our commitment for math is about $60 per student. So you're looking at right about $600 per student for math, and $537 for English. Now, of course, that's the per student cost just for the student themselves. There's lots of other costs going into this for staffing issues, for staffing and things like that, I would have to really kind of dive into more to kind of see what's the true cost per student, but that's just kind of the upfront cost where if a student were paying, that's what they would be paying. So.
All right, thank you so much. That's all our questions, and we are right at time for our session.
All right, thank you. Does it show you how many people were on?